569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
I remember the moment. I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
That moment, we arrived in the scene.
The storm had nearly destroyed the area.
This was our own community. Friends, family, people we grew up with, went to school with. We were there to help.
Several of us were working to rescue a family.
They made it down to the storm cellar, but the house collapsed on top of the cellar door and trapped them.
We had chainsaws going, and we had to use Humvees and heavy machinery to move massive trees and debris.
We got them out.
We helped a lot of people out.
It felt good to know I could really make a difference.
Right here, close to home, in my state.
It was one of those life-changing moments where I realized I am making a difference in these people's lives and mine. I'm a citizen soldier in the National Guard.
You can serve part-time and be there the moment your community needs you. Learn more at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Alaska National Guard, aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesak.com.
Find movie showtimes for Anchorage and the Valley at moviesak.com. Check out trailers and reviews updated daily. Moviesak.com, your local location on the web to find out everything you need to know before you go out. Register for free movie tickets that are given away every week and the grand prize of movie tickets for life.
Pete's Parrot Emporium.
Pete? Pete?
How may I help you?
Help!
Be quiet.
Quiet!
Silence.
If only everything in business was as easy as Wix. Wix's drag-and-drop website builder makes it simple to create your stunning website yourself. Just choose a design from hundreds of beautiful Wix templates and customize it however you want. Go to Wix.com today. It's easy and free.
Wix.com.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
In the U.S. Senate.
I'm Dan Sullivan, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
All right, welcome back. 6:47. That's the time. Our number 569-1080. 569-1080. That's really the way you frame this election, isn't it? Which look, it's hope or it's divide. It's hope or fear. That's really what we're talking about here. Do we believe better days are ahead? Do we believe in the human spirit? Do we believe in the individual to excel and create excellence and value and to promote a better way for the next generation if given the opportunity? Or do you not trust people? Do you fear mankind? Do you think mankind generally will do the wrong thing if given the opportunity? That's the vision between the left and the right. Is that right, Glenn, or is that too simplistic?
No, I think largely it is. The people on the left will go one step further and say the right does not want a safety net. That's just wrong. There's no people who want to see people out in the middle of the street starving.
Without a roof.
Yes, exactly. That segment of society doesn't exist. But, yeah, so, I mean, there are other things that are going on there as well, in that the left will say, I really don't like it when there are consequences for people. The right will say consequences have to be there. It's where we learn the most about life. And you say, well, what kind of consequences? Okay, not consequences where people are starving to death, and not consequences where people, are out on the street. All right, so let's take those consequences off the table. And so then they'll say, well, but if you get to the natural end of things, then those are other consequences. People don't get to the natural end of things. We don't like to be uncomfortable.
So that's interesting. That's an interesting point, because I agree with you. The left goes too far. When you're talking about how the left looks at the right and the right looks at the left believes we're cold-hearted and we don't care. Now, what would be an example of the right going too far, believing something about the left that isn't true? That, by the way, is what we call a good question.
Well, let's see. So what's big on the left? Public education. And not just public education, because the right believes in public education too, but they don't believe in a monopoly. So
but what is something that the right would say about the left that isn't true? That goes too far?
They want everybody on welfare. Would they say that? Or
I wouldn't say that.
Okay. What would you say about the left?
Well, let me think of the most extreme thing I think about the left.
No, don't think of an extreme thing. Just think of something just normal every day. The left says A.
Well,
or X.
I just don't think they trust people. I think that they feel they're superior and that they know better, and they believe that they're doing good and acting justly and acting virtuously by protecting people from themselves. And they must take away our freedom because we're a bunch of boobs. We're not like them. They're the intellectual class. They're the Ivy League class. They understand. You know, the old saying, knowledge puffs up. They understand things we don't get. So therefore, they must, out of responsibility to mankind, take away some of our freedoms.
Now, they would never see taking away freedoms. Right? You say, okay, well, you got the freedom to die because you can't get health care. Is that really a freedom that we really want to defend? That you could die because you can't get health care. And the conservative will come back and say, well, you always could get health care. If you need health care, you go to the emergency room,
so
you have health care.
Their boogeymen are false.
Right. And that's the part where, look, we are a far different country than we were 50 years ago, 100 years ago, at our founding. There is dramatically more government than we have ever had before. Now, here's what is true. I think things are done much better. Conservatives think that things are done much better when they're done with a church or a YMCA.
Or charity. Doesn't have to be a religious organization.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be, but that a charitable act, and here's the part where I really think this is where the left goes wrong. They don't like people having to receive charity because that requires humility and makes one person the master of the other.
The perfect example was the guy at Bartlett High who was talking about everybody gets a free lunch now. Now there's no stigma attached to it. I'm paraphrasing, but that was his main point.
Now we can all be equal. That was actually the person who runs the school, the principal.
Yeah. Well, he was actually the head of nutrition for the district.
Oh, okay. There was another guy who was a principal who said something very similar.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think it's really awful. I think that having differences between different parts of society inspires people to do better in a country that's just. This is the part of the left where I think that they're wrong. Our country does have justice. And while you're never going to have a system of perfect justice, the one that has been best across the world to provide justice and the ability for people to rise is this country right here. Not because there aren't consequences for bad actions, but because you have the greatest ability if you work hard and if you do the right thing, as the president always says, you'll do well.
569-1080 is our number. 569-1080. You're listening to Dan Fagan, Glenn Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, who we're broadcasting on KOAN
and KVNT.
You're supposed to repeat
KOAN.
KOAN.
And KVNT.
And KVNT.
We want you to know the call letters, folks. So let's pull up at 50,000 feet. So clearly there are two very different competing worldviews in our country. And most people, and I know the left denies this, but most people typically tend to land on one of these camps, with some exceptions. And there are some leftists who have variations and some conservatives who have variations on what they believe. But those are the basic two fundamental worldviews.
Yeah.
And to simplify it, we would characterize it as hope versus despair. They'd characterize it probably compassion versus cold-heartedness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's how each side would characterize each other. So what happens? Who wins this war? What do you do when you have two very different competing philosophies? And both of them are very cynical and skeptical of each other. I was arguing with a gal just 2 nights ago. And she's, the whole thing about she is a born-again Christian who believes that God condones homosexuality. He said God would never create people gay unless because the people she's seen in her life who are gay and are together, they're happy and they genuinely love each other. And so she doesn't believe that God would oppose something like that. Now, what she's doing is she's letting what she sees in the natural world dictate her theology, not the Word of God. But that's fine. So we're arguing and we're going back and forth, and at some point I just got to say, well, you know what, Ann? The left believes that marriage should be redefined, and just about everything else the left believes is wrong. So yes, that does factor into my decision-making on gay marriage. And I'm just being honest. Yes, from what I understand of the Bible, from what I understand about marriage and its role in society, from what I understand about the female gender versus the male gender, from what I understand about parenting, I think that it's crucial that we maintain the family unit. But yes, part of the reason I think anything the left's for, it seems to me that they're wrong on everything. And if they start promoting, I remember I was driving down Minnesota. I remember it so well. And this was just when the Arab Spring had started. And Egypt was about to have Mubarak kicked out of office. And Shannon Moore was so excited. She was talking about it. I wasn't really following it. But when I hear her talking about Egypt's going to be liberated, like, why is a leftist excited about freedom? Well, what was happening is that the jihadists were going to take over Egypt. Now, they ended up losing out and didn't get their way. But that's what she was excited about, because jihadists want to destroy Israel. That's all the left really cares about at its core. So this movement has such a perfect track record of always taking the wrong side every time without exception. Yes, when I hear Shannon Moore or Hollis French or Les Care or Mark Begich saying they like something, red flag. So with that in play, Glenn Biegel, and the left probably does the same thing. When they hear a Bonnie Cameron or a Glenn Biegel say something, well, that's the evil, heartless conservative. They must be wrong. How does this thing ever get resolved? Well, that, by the way, would be what I would call another good question.
Generally, these things get resolved by the government growing, taking over more and more of the responsibilities of churches and more of the responsibilities of individual people. That generally is the way these things get resolved.
So the government comes in and solves it for us.
Generally.
By force.
Yeah.
Because, well, why is it the conservatives let that happen?
Well, our country is so unnatural. It's so unnatural to think we don't want a king. Human beings love kings. We love having somebody else with the responsibility. And frankly, if we're not doing all that well, at least we're sort of all in this together. And yeah, we're all in it together, and we've always been in it together as a country. So I find that as a false argument. But frankly, people are much more comfortable rather than saying, gee, there's a problem for the person who's hungry, who's right next to me. I guess I'll feed them. Rather than that, saying, gee, I wonder if we could start a government program so that we could send money to Washington, D.C., or maybe even better, have them print some money so our kids can pay it off, and then we'll have a bureaucrat feed the person who's right next to me. I mean, for whatever reason, human beings are odd and they think that that's a better way. Unfortunately, it doesn't solve the person's hunger problem because whatever problem in their life is never fixed.
658.
Whatever problem in their life is never fixed.
658.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for 20 cents. Order online at SicilysPizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just from Sicily's Pizza.
They had this studio that was blowing me away.
Okay, so we don't have to keep
Well, all we need is just a basic. You don't want a laptop. You want a desktop. The desktop is right over here. Be plugged in, and he would he would essentially control it.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. First, he'll tell Congress and then us. President Obama working on a plan to defeat ISIS, that terrorist army taking parts of Iraq and Syria. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live at the White House.
After scores of airstrikes have hit ISIS targets inside Iraq, President Obama is ready to outline what he calls the next phase in confronting the ISIS threat.
Keep in mind, this is something that we know how to do. We've been dealing with terrorist threats for quite some time.
President Obama telling NBC's Meet the Press the long-term strategy includes supporting a new Iraqi government and building a coalition of international and regional partners. It will not, the president says, equate to a new war in Iraq. Dave.
Jared, summer is finally over for Congress. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland, also live in Washington.
Dave. Lawmakers are heading back to work on Capitol Hill. Some plan to introduce legislation to deal with ISIS, and top leaders will meet with the president and talk strategy on defeating the group. Also on their to-do list, avoiding a partial government shutdown by funding the U.S. government beyond the end of this month when the fiscal year comes to a close. Lawmakers are also expected to extend a freeze on taxing access to the Internet. This will be an abbreviated session as members look ahead to the midterm elections. Dave.
Rachel, Afghanistan's presidential election remains a mess. Candidate Abdullah says he will not accept the outcome of the second round of voting, claiming he won but is the victim of fraud, and talks to form a unity government with his rival are deadlocked. The U.S. has said that stalemate has affected training Afghan forces before this year's troop withdrawal. An early morning fire killed 4 kids in an apartment building in Chicago.
I heard somebody say fire. I don't actually know who it was. Then when I got up, I tried to grab my throat because I heard crackling.
He's among dozens who escaped the flames. Some adults jumped. 2 of them are in critical condition. A federal appeals court that declared California's gay marriage ban unconstitutional. The arguments on 3 other states' bans today: Hawaii, Idaho, and Nevada. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Gear up for fall and haul in the savings. Choose 0% 60-month financing or big cash off select John Deere tractors. From the 1 family to 150 horsepower utility tractors. Plus, get $1,500 off new 1 family tractors when you buy 2 implements. Offer ends October 31st, 2014, subject to approved credit on John Deere financial installment plan. Some restrictions apply. See your participating dealer for details.
Visit your local John Deere dealer today to take advantage of special savings going on now. Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
You've been thinking about moving over to solar power for your home. So are a lot of other people, which is why some power companies are pushing for extra fees to make up the difference. Get caught in the middle or go with a trusted local solar company and actually own it with no down payment, interest, or payments for a whole year. Get all the tax incentives you're entitled to while you still can. We finance. Call for your free in-home assessment. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR today.
My home, my savings, 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
This is Herb Ekman with Alaska Sausage. I have some news for you hunters. Our specials this year include our famous bratwurst, pastrami, Polish hot dog. Our specials are always very popular, and I believe you're really going to love these. We have been processing game meat for Alaskan hunters for over 45 years. We know it's superior products start with superior meat, and that's why we only accept clean game meat that's been well cared for before it gets to us. Our traditional old-world recipes turn your carefully prepared meat into superior products. You will be happy to serve your family and friends.
Alaska Sausage, 2914 Arctic Boulevard. And for our Valley customers, there's no need to bring your game all the way to Anchorage. Now you can simply drop your clean, boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods in Wasilla, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up, complete your order, and bring it back.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike Ferris, president of Alaska Enterprise Solutions. We are the face of Xerox in Alaska. Xerox is a trendsetter, and AES Xerox is following in those footsteps. We are the document management experts, specializing in short-term rentals of copiers and scanners. We have offices in Anchorage and Fairbanks, and we are your Xerox professional agency with an Alaska focus and worldwide support. You can reach us at aesalaska.com or 561-5100.
When Malarkey Mark Begich ran for U.S. Senator, he made a lot of claims about his record as Anchorage mayor. Begich knew the truth wouldn't come to light before the election. But now, history is caught up with Malarkey Mark. Under Begich, Anchorage taxes went up 27%. Under Begich, the city budget ballooned, a $142 million increase in spending. Under Begich, the city was saddled with unprecedented 5-year union contracts. Under Begich, a deficit of over $20 million was left for the next mayor to deal with. Begich left Anchorage in serious trouble. Alaska's Energy America's Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's time to replace Malone with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com.
Glenn Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on.
$59 for kids. Book now at 26glaciers.com.
Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
Six minutes past 7 o'clock. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie right here on a Monday morning, the 8th day of September. Welcome to the broadcast. You know, if you're looking for a vehicle, car, truck, SUV, there's really one option for you. Our friend Ali Sheik over at Payless Car Sales. What a beautiful, beautiful selection he has of really nice cars, trucks, and SUVs, all top quality condition. He offers you very flexible financing. And the bottom line is you go see Ali Sheik over at Payless Car Sales, you're going to get into a really nice vehicle, one that you're going to be proud of. It'll be reliable through the winter months. That's a big deal, obviously. Go see Ali Sheik, Payless Car Sales. They're over on 5th Avenue, 919 East 5th Avenue, right in the heart of downtown. Ali is trustworthy, reliable, and you will get a good deal. Payless Car Sales over on 5th Avenue. Our number, 569-1080. 569-1080. That's the number here in Anchorage. Exciting weekend in football. You don't watch football much, huh, Glenn? You're working too much. You are.
Yeah, I was using power tools all weekend. Big weekend for the Biegel family.
Bonnie, do you watch any football?
No. I hate football.
Oh.
You can't hate football.
I hate it.
You can only hate evil, and I do not believe that
football is evil.
I don't believe football is evil. It hurts. I think that that hurts.
Why do you say it's evil?
Because I guess growing up, my dad was I don't think he was that into it, but he watched it, and my husband watches it.
I think I know your love language. You know what love languages are?
I know there's 5 of them. I'm not sure
Yeah.
I know all of them.
Len, you know about love languages, huh?
Oh yeah, very versed in the love language art.
Are you being sarcastic?
Somewhat.
You never know when Glenn's being sarcastic.
He sounds so serious.
Yeah, you just never know.
All right.
Well, there's 5 of them. And the one that I think you are, Bonnie.
Should I take notes here, by the way?
Yeah, here.
This
I got
is
a
very
pen.
okay. I got
I
it.
got
Go
a pen
ahead.
for you.
5.
There are 5 love languages. One of them is quality time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably you.
Yes, I love to play board games and do puzzles and.
Dear God help me.
Knit.
No, I want to learn how to do that, though.
Yeah, and people who are quality time people, it's a big deal that that you spend quality time with them, not just time.
Yeah.
Sitting watching the Oakland Raiders play the Buffalo Bills is not considered for quality time people quality time.
You know what, though? It used to bother me a lot more, and now it does not bother me as much. I guess just because I'm so busy doing, I can do other things while he's watching football. But it did used to bother me the same way when he played Xbox or, whatever, video games, my husband, my son.
Your husband needs another job. That basically is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, we got rid of the Xbox and the Wii and all that stuff. And,
Because of your son? Or
Bye-bye.
we just decided that we'd rather do other things, and it was robbing us of time spent together. And we all do love to do things, and we're homebodies. We don't go out and do a whole lot, but we like to do things with each other at home, and go hiking or cross country skiing. We do that in the winter. But yeah, we made a decision to get rid of it. Did
it change your life?
Yeah, absolutely. My son reads a whole lot more now, and
what'd you do? You stole it away?
We sold it. He wanted to go to a camp at our church, and it was $250. So.
Do you have any video games at your house, Glenn?
Sure. Yeah, they're very highly restricted. I played video games, and this is the part where I had difficulty trying to figure out what to do with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
But we played Atari. Okay, it wasn't much different than Pong.
Right.
Okay, I played Adventure and Tank and things like that. Now the visual experience is so overwhelming. It's a complete rush. And by the way, I believe video games are identical inside the male mind to work. When you are doing a video game and you're clearing a level and you're fighting the monsters and you're off, it's the same thing as doing work. You're like, oh, I got to do this, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do this. And so work is such a central part of being male that you just love this idea that I have all this stuff to do. I'm going to get it all done. I'm going to advance in levels. I'm going to become more powerful. And all these things are all part of the addictive nature of being a man, of being male.
So you want to work even when you're off?
There is no difference. I bet if you looked at somebody's brain as they're sitting there playing video games, even though it's just totally visually stimulating constantly, it's still the underlying idea of it is, I've got a lot of work to do. I'm going to get it all done. It's going to be really exciting. I'm going to go up in levels. I'm going to achieve new things. I'm going to be great. I'm going to be a powerful person inside my own sphere.
I agree with what you're saying, but that's more competing than working.
Yeah, the competition is a big part of work.
So
sure.
what about the women
Absolutely.
gamers? There's women gamers out there. I don't get that.
Well, I don't either. You'll probably have to explain it to me. I do know that when my daughter gets on, she likes playing this game where you make ice cream things for people, and you'll put the whipped cream on top, and then you'll put the, so there's still work involved, but I think in the end she likes it because she's serving people, and the person's face lights up, and then coins come in.
I'm a man.
Okay.
What?
Yeah,
when?
I don't really.
When?
Well, work's okay, but what I love to do, what really gets my juices flowing, is competing. I don't care if it's tennis, if it's golf, if it's poker, if it's dominoes,
I do love poker.
If it's go fish. I love to compete.
Yeah.
It just gets me going, and I just love to do it. And some of my friends who I play golf with, they don't take the sport as serious as I do. And I'll get out there, and I'm keeping their score in my head because I'm wanting to beat them. But they just literally don't care, and that kills me.
Do they not care because they don't think they can beat you, or just
know.
because it saps it? Because I'm not a competitive person in that way either. I don't get up every morning. I want to compete with what I think my ideal is and what my ideals are, but I don't want to compete with other people to try and beat them.
Oh, I do. And we'll get along about 4 holes in, and my friend will get up to tee up the ball, and I'll go, I'm up by 3 strokes. Whatever. What do you mean, whatever? You're going to lose here.
It's like life and death for you.
Are you an accepted, acknowledged loser? Are you accepting that as your fate in life, to be inferior to other people? What do you mean you don't care? You want to lose? I love competing. I don't know what that says about me. I don't think probably anything good, but I just love to compete.
Yeah.
I will never forget quite a few years ago when I went to see a marriage counselor at some point, and I was just
feel free to express anything here you want to, buddy.
I was complaining about my husband and my son and how they always played video games together, and I was like, this is not quality time.
Yeah.
And it was a woman, marriage counselor.
No, it is.
No. And she said, well, do they have fun together when they're
blast.
playing? And I said, well, yeah. And she said, well, then why isn't that quality time?
Yeah, no, when my nephew and I get together and play Madden, that's about as good as it gets for me.
Yeah.
And him.
Yeah.
But we're
Bonding.
fiercely competitive. And trash talk each other to death.
That's the fun part.
7:14. Fiercely competitive. And trash talk each other to death.
That's the fun part.
7:14.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call, 569-1080, KOAN.
You know what I didn't learn in law school? How much time is spent on documents, preparing them, revising them, and scanning and routing them, and if all goes well, having my client sign them.
With intelligent printers and MFPs, customized apps and services, Kyocera Document Solutions helps you capture, distribute, and manage the many documents that matter.
Legal Documents 101. Now that ought to be a course.
If the document is important, the company is important.
Royal Business Systems has been a leading provider of high-quality business technology and services since 1990. Royal Business Systems provides HP, Okidata, and Kyocera printers and MFPs, and support recognized throughout the industry as best in class. Come to Royal Business Systems for the total document solution you need to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Don't call 1-800-WHO-CARES. Call Royal Business Systems at 563-4118. That's 563-4118. Or visit us at akcopy.net.
As an employer, you know valuable employees help grow your business. That's why you should plan to attend the annual job fair on September 10th, brought to you by Alaska Integrated Media and Alaska Dispatch News. We'll be at the Egan Center from 10:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. If you want the chance to reach today's workforce, grab a booth. There are still spots available. Just send an email to jobfair@adn.com to register or for more information. Plan to come to the Egan on September 10th and find the next star of your team.
Is it already time for your kindergartner to start learning reading, writing, and arithmetic? Would you like them to also learn science, history, and geography? Let's mix in the fun of music, art, and learning through play. Anchor Lutheran School offers this and much more in a class of no more than 22 students. Kindergarten through junior high enrolling now. Anchor Lutheran School on Arctic Boulevard, just north of Diamond. Visit alsalaska.org or call 522-3636 to learn more.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com. We
7:17 in the morning. Chugach Chiropractic. Dr. Byron Swigert, who will be on our broadcast this week. He's a guy who knows how to do one thing and one thing only: help you live a healthier life, pain-free life, sleep better at night, lose weight. Dr. Byron Swigert and his team at Chugach Chiropractic, Dr. Madden, the whole team, they're really good at using natural solutions to live a healthy life. A lot of times in the medical community today, it's all about putting you under the knife, because that's what, well, let's be honest, folks, that's what makes them money. But not the team at Chugach Chiropractic. Give them a call, set up an appointment, go see them. It'll improve your life considerably, health-wise. The number 694-9224. 694-9224. Chugach Chiropractic. Again, 694-9224. Our number here in Anchorage, 569-1080, or really anywhere you listen to us. If you're outside of the 907 area code, just put 907 there in your little phone there. Bonnie Cameron sitting right over there. There's Glenn Biegel. I'm Dan Fagan. We're broadcasting to you on KOAN and KVNT. We're going to talk to Denny DeWitt, who is with the governor's office, and they've got some new information out now on Obamacare and how it's going to affect the state with the rates. It's going to go up. The rates are going to go up considerably. And basically Denny DeWitt issued a press release on Friday, and Dermot Cole got all upset with him. This Dermot Cole guy, man, I don't know what his deal is, but he said it read more like a press release, because basically what DeWitt did was document how much Obamacare is going to affect our state and our health insurance rates.
Yeah, Dermot Cole didn't like it.
No.
And what I thought was so odd about it, and clearly this is the tenor that the paper has taken, is if there's something where government's going to try and, quote, solve a problem, even though these are largely government-created problems, never had health care this expensive until government got involved, that they're just going to take this sounds fishy.
Yeah.
And you get that sense every time a conservative will speak, either the title of the paper or the opening paragraph, something is fishy here. We're not really sure. We're going to check it out. And that kind of is their approach to everything.
Well, here's what the press release read. Denny DeWitt, Alaska State Director of the National Federation of Independent Business, offered the following comment on late yesterday's announcement by the State Department of Commerce that costs for health insurance plans covering 16,000 Alaskans would see historic increases as high as 37%.
Oh, my gosh.
Actually, I said it wrong. I said DeWitt, he's not directly with the governor. He's the Alaska State Director for the National Federation of Independent Businesses. So he's not even with the government. Here's what DeWitt said. These are the rate increases we have feared since the passage of Obamacare. Federally mandated benefits not designed to the purchaser's needs, combined with a health insurance tax that only hits individuals and small businesses, are just two examples of this anti-business, anti-individual approach to health insurance. The National Federation of Independent Businesses, both nationally and here in Alaska, has been asking for relief from this economic burden. It seems that the Obama administration and the current U.S. Senate majority are simply not interested in providing much-needed relief for individuals and small businesses. 350,000 dues-paying members across the nation, including 2,000 in Alaska. 37% increase. We need to do a town hall luncheon on Obamacare before the election. Get a bunch of small business owners up there on the panel.
Yeah. You know, you always would go in to people who are our clients, or basically any small business that you and I ever go and visit, and you'll always ask the question, what has Obamacare done for you? And I wouldn't ask the question. I don't know what they'd say, but you know how big of a deal this is, that it has literally affected every single business in the entire country, whether they've had to implement it or not, or to what extent. But every single one of them has said it's devastating. We are having to cancel plans. We're having to cancel people's number of hours that they work. The costs are astronomical.
We're not going to hire new people.
We're not going to. Every single person. I cannot imagine that Mark Begich passing this law, he thought everything was going to be fine. We're going to spread the costs amongst a whole lot larger group of people. We're going to cover pre-existing conditions, whatever it was. He's looking at sort of the 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 foot level, and you don't see that the individual pain that each one of these independent businesses go through, it's dramatic. I've been surprised every time.
Well, I don't think since the passage of Obamacare that there's been any business owner that I've encountered where that I didn't ask them about Obamacare, and I have never heard a positive response. Not one, Glenn. And I don't know how many, maybe it's 50. Because anytime someone comes up to me, hi, I'm so-and-so, I own, Joe's cat supply, whatever. Oh, really? How's Obamacare affected you? Horror stories. Every time.
Yeah.
No exception. So how's this...
Remember Begich famously, or at least to you and to me, you've said it a couple of times, you had him on your program, on your television program a while ago. He said, oh, I'm not worried about Obamacare. Everybody's going to like Obamacare.
We said this after the show.
Yeah, but not off the record.
No, no.
Okay, and what exactly did he say?
He said, I said to him as we're walking out of the studio, I said, man, you got to admit, you're going to get killed with this Obamacare thing. He says, I'm not worried about it. He says, there's so many things in there that are good. The parents' insurance, the subsidies, the pre-existing conditions, that the good will outweigh the bad.
And good to him is giving away other people's money.
Free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's goodies in there.
That's good because he can,
so
help
he
his people.
knows he's buying people's votes.
That's right.
It's a confession.
The strongest applause that I think I've ever heard this president get is when he said to a bunch of college students, And you will be able to stay on your parents' insurance until you are 26.
Yeah.
Why not 30?
Yeah.
At 26, I was out of the house
We're all
years
children.
and years and years. Why not 40?
Right.
Why not stay on your parents'
I'm
insurance
still with my parents. I live
forever?
with my parents. Why can't I get it?
Why not? Heck. Anyway, so there's a huge applause line. These kids went on for about a minute and a half, not realizing the problem with our insurance situation, the problem with our healthcare situation, it costs 4 times as much if you get a broken arm as it did before. Well, the problem with our health situation is everything is catastrophic. Yeah. If you had to pay $20,000 when my parents, back in the 90s or whenever I was still involved being a child, late 80s, whatever, and I would have broken my arm and they wouldn't have had insurance, they would have been bankrupt in all likelihood because it would have cost $15,000, $20,000. Nobody has $15,000 or $20,000. That is a catastrophic failure. That is like what you would have paid almost for a heart problem back in the late 80s. It's just unheard of, and you can't have a system where you have the government saying, well, we'll pay whatever it costs. It doesn't really matter to us what the cost is, and then you transfer the cost to other people. It's just a system that doesn't work. Mark Begich cannot be right on this.
Well, they always go to the people who didn't have health insurance before, but everybody had health care.
Yeah.
And they're very careful to use their words.
That's right.
No
health
one has
insurance
ever been turned down.
And what they're talking about, health insurance, is the ability to have other people pay, because since they've given you the through Obamacare, you don't even have to pay for your health insurance. You're just on health insurance, and other people are going to pay that for you too. What people don't realize, though, is when they do go and incur costs in the system, they will still go bankrupt. They will still go bankrupt. Do you think you can afford? I think for me, if I was going to get $45,000 worth of or $30,000 worth of health coverage, it would have cost me $45,000 because my premiums were so high, and I still had to pay 40% of the astronomical, unbelievable, ridiculous costs for going to the doctor.
We didn't have insurance by choice for quite a few years, and we were perfectly fine. It was freeing to be able to make that choice.
So you can just pay cash at the doctor?
Yes. And most of the time we found my husband or my son had to have like a $20,000 surgery on his ears, and we went to Providence and we worked something out with them. They gave us an 80% off or something like that, and they're not for profit. And we worked a payment plan out and had it paid off within a couple years. So really, the way it used to be, it was more charity-based.
Yeah. That one thing that they've absolutely stripped out of this, you're not even allowed to give charity. If you don't charge someone their $7 copay for Medicare, you will get fined $10,000 each and every time you don't charge somebody the $7, because you're not allowed to give charity under Medicare, which that is a total change. And this is the essence, to me, of what the difference between the left and the right is. People used to get health care and pay what they could afford. And if they couldn't make the full payment, then you would, as you did, you put together a plan, the person gave you some amount off. It was charity. The government wasn't involved in saying, you will provide this, we will pay this amount. It's a total change to the way health care worked. And what the left will do, and this is why I think they're so despicable, they'll say, well, what if you can't get charity? Okay, well, show me an example. People can get charity. People did get charity. What they don't like about it is the fact that if we give you the right to go take health care from a healthcare, quote, system, you no longer have to get charity. You don't have to be humble. You don't have to ask. You don't have to beg. You don't have to hope. We will give you hope. We will provide that for you. That is so different. It's such a different system than the one we have or had.
569-1080, 569-1080. Dan Fagan, Glenn Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. We're broadcasting on KOAN.
KOAN.
KVNT.
KVNT.
Right here, 569-1080. 569-1080. Stay with us.
today. The slot machine maker is being acquired by Global Cash Access Holdings, a provider of cash services to casinos, for about $1.2 billion or $36.50 a share. General Electric is also trading higher. Electrolux has agreed to buy GE's appliances business for $3.3 billion cash. The deal will boost Electrolux's presence in North America and help it take on industry leader Whirlpool. Electrolux will continue to use the GE appliances brand. Boeing's order book is getting fatter. European airline Ryanair says it will purchase 100 737 MAX 200 planes. The deal is valued at $11 billion at current list prices. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lauren Simonetti.
At Mathnasium Learning Centers, we make math make sense. Your child will leap ahead, whether they start out way behind or already ahead. It's how we've grown to more than 500 franchise locations. More at mathnasium.com or call for a free parent pack, 855-901-MATH. That's 855-901-6284. Learn what Mathnasium can do for your child. 855-901-6284. Mathnasium. We make math make sense.
KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. The body of a young woman buried at Anchorage Memorial Park for 30 years has been exhumed. Ann Kenda explains why.
The woman, who may have been in her late teens, was buried without anyone knowing who she was after her body was found on April 25, 1984, near Horseshoe Lake. She is believed to have been a victim of notorious Alaska serial killer Robert Hansen, who died last month in prison at the age of 75 of natural causes. Testing methods not available in 1984 are available now, and with facial reconstruction imaging, victim advocates are hoping to solve this 3-decade mystery.
The State of Obesity Report. Robert Wood Johnson Foundation finds obesity increased in Alaska and 5 other states since last year's report. 2 out of 3 American adults are now overweight to obese. Well, that should help to further lower our life expectancy rates. That's your Hot Talk News update.
Partial sunshine for today, high 61. Cloudy with a passing shower tonight, low 48. Cloudy with a bit of rain for tomorrow, high 57. Tuesday night, low 50. Cloudy Wednesday with a passing shower or two, high 58. Thursday, high 61. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Maybe you heard about the big merger between the 2 top carpet cleaning companies in Alaska, J&S Steamway and Thermax. J&S Steamway Thermax has serviced Anchorage for 47 years combined. So you know they know how to clean your Alaska.
Update.
Partial sunshine for today, high 61. Cloudy with a passing shower.
You've been thinking about moving over to
5th Avenue. I'm hearing.
Yeah, we got rid of the Xbox and the Wii and all that stuff. And,
because of your son? Or
bye-bye.
We just decided that we'd rather do other things, and it was robbing us of time spent together. And we all do love to.
Free and in writing. So call J&S Steamway Thermax.
We don't go out and do a whole lot, but we like to do things with each other at home, and go hiking or cross-country skiing. We do that in the winter.
Stuff to do. I'm going to get it all done. I'm going to advance in levels. I'm going to become more powerful. And all these things are all part
brain injuries, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, multiple sclerosis, speech disorders, and they offer pain management as well. And if you're having trouble sleeping at night, the Alaska Neurology Center has the best sleep disorder experts in the state. They also have the most sophisticated MRI imaging technology in Alaska. If you need relief from stress or from migraines, relax in their luxurious spa. At the Alaska Neurology Center, their massage therapists are amazing, and they offer hydrotherapy, infrared sauna, hot and cold therapy, and shiatsu massage. And their medical spa also offers facials and waxing. The Alaska Neurology Center, located on Diamond and Old Seward.
What if buying your next car could actually be enjoyable? At Payless Car Sales, we believe it should be. If you're in the market for your next car, come by and meet our knowledgeable staff and explore our selection of quality vehicles. We offer military discounts, and we give all of our customers Carfax history reports. We can also provide warranties and handle all of your lending needs. Just like driving your car should be enjoyable, so should buying it. Visit us downtown at 919 East 5th Avenue or on our website at paylesssales.com. Payless Car Sales, where Alaskans drive.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
$7:35. Dan Fagan, Glenn Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, our good friends Frank and Becky Earhart, and their son James over at Earhart Roofing. They're the best in the state. No question about it when it comes to installing a roof. It's a big deal who you have work on your home, especially something as important as a roof. But here's how confident the Earharts are that the work they will do for you will last and last a long time. They're going to give you a 50-year warranty. Really, folks, what else do you need to know? Honestly, a 50-year warranty? What else do you need to know? They're guaranteeing their work for half a century. I think that pretty much closes the case. Earhart Roofing, Frank and Becky Earhart, they started 42 years ago, and their business is booming. 17 trucks, 60 employees. Give them a call. 345-5555. 345-5555. They can install a roof within 2 days, too, by the way. Earhart Roofing, 345-5555. Our number, 569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number if you would like to join the broadcast. 569-1080. We are broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, and we're on 4 signals. What signals are we on, Glenn?
92.5 and 1020 out in the valley, and 95.1, which people may or may not know, is stronger FM signal here in town, here in Anchorage, and 1080. And also TuneIn. The TuneIn app is just like being here. If you have any difficulty with any of our signals, go to TuneIn, look up KOAN.
1080 KOAN is the website for the audio, and we're working on the video, hopefully tomorrow. Welcome to the broadcast, Danny DeWitt, Alaska State Director for the National Federation of Independent Businesses. Danny, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you guys doing?
We're very well. I'm glad you're here with us today, and you have some information on Obamacare and how it's going to affect Alaskans. What can you tell us?
Well, as the insurance division indicated last week, premiums are going up for those in the individual market. Most small businesses, ones we represent, referred to as the mom and pop stores, a lot of those folks buy in the individual market, so they're looking at some very significant premium increases to the extent that they're helping their employees with the cost of their insurance. Those costs are going to go up.
The individual markets is what?
Individual market are people who are not covered by government programs, not covered by labor Taft-Hartley Trust kinds of programs. They're not government employees who, as we all know, have much better health insurance programs than the rest of us. Folks that are on what are called ERISA programs, which are your big employers. So this really is something that hits small businesses and individual people who go out to their insurance agents and buy their own health insurance, where they're not covered by employer-based insurance. So that's the group that's hit hardest and most effectively by this premium increase.
What kind of increases are we seeing?
Well, up to 37% in some cases. The specifics are not yet available, but the ranges are, and they're not, unlike what we had anticipated with the passage of Obamacare. The interesting part, just as a side note, you can debate, you can argue. Within the Beltway back east, they can think they can regulate. But at the end of the day, if you run costs of a program up, somebody has to pay. It's just that simple. You can't increase costs without increasing charges.
How does Obamacare run the cost up?
Pardon me?
How does Obamacare run the cost up?
Well, there's a little known part of Obamacare, which we have been fighting for a number of years, which is called the health insurance tax. It's a tax that's supposed to bring in 2014 about $8 billion and climbing to about $14 billion in 2018. But that tax is only applied to people who buy insurance in what's called the traditional insurance market. It doesn't include, it exempts from that tax ERISA plans, which, BP and ConocoPhillips and all those folks have ERISA plans that are not insured. Government programs are not included. Union health plans are not included. So it falls directly on a very small group of people.
It's basically small business owners.
Exactly.
Now, why would the architects of Obamacare exempt unions in big business and yet adopt a tax that would target the heroes of our economy, the small business owners?
Well, I can only guess, as obviously we weren't supportive of it. Part of it, I think, is a true lack of knowledge in terms of what they're doing. It sounds great to tax insurance and insurance companies, but when you don't understand the insurance market, you apply taxes that you may or may not think go to other entities, but are fairly well focused. Part of it is in their hurry to try and make it look, quote, budget neutral, they did a lot of funny things with Obamacare. You might remember there was a part that actually got repealed that would have required any business that purchased anything over $600 to have to give that person a 1099. That was repealed, but the reason it was there is it was part of what helped in all the silliness of the federal government make it look more cost neutral. Now, I, on the one hand, thought it was kind of fun because I was just waiting to go down to buy my ticket on Alaska Airlines and tell them that they either had to give me their all their employer information so I could send them a 1099,
right,
or I was going to have to withhold 25% of the fee.
Wow.
I just thought that would be kind of an interesting exercise, but they repealed it before it hit.
We're talking to Denny DeWitt, Alaska State Director for the National Federation of Independent Businesses.
Denny, it's a pleasure having you on here. I'm trying to figure out who Obamacare was written for. What exactly was the idea? Because usually there's a special interest who is behind whatever the legislation is, and it's sort of written to benefit someone. Who is this for?
Well, I think that you have to go back to Harry Truman, who wanted national health insurance. It's been something that was pushed by a number of people since then. Goodness, we've seen all kinds of approaches towards it.
Reagan warned it about us in the 60s.
Yes, he did.
You know what, Denny? I got a break. Can you hold on?
Sure.
We'll continue with Denny DeWitt. Time 7:44. Time 7:44.
Fagan and You're on with Fagan.
Tight. Experience the flavor. Call us right away. 24/7. It's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesak.com.
Find movie showtimes for Anchorage and the Valley at moviesak.com. Check out trailers and reviews updated daily. Moviesak.com, your local location on the web to find out everything you need to know before you go out. Register for free movie tickets that are given away every week and the grand prize of movie tickets for life.
Trail Boss Solutions is an Alaskan-owned, nationally recognized top 500 construction and remodel firm. From our handyman services to our award-winning kitchen design and remodel, Trail Boss Solutions is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, and has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion on time and on budget. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080K.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley. KVN.
7:47 is the time. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie on KOAN, KVNT, our number 569-1080. We're talking with Denny DeWitt, Alaska State Director for the National Federation of Independent Businesses, who reports to us this morning that health insurance plans covering 16,000 Alaskans can see increases as high as 37%.
All right, this is the ideal of the left.
Thanks to Obamacare.
Yeah, the ideal of the left is we're going to give people something, they're not going to have to pay for it. We're finding out that that's changing the marketplace, is making things more expensive for us,
especially business owners.
Just average people, but particularly business owners. What are the solutions? Because this is the part that the left comes out and says, well, you don't have any solutions. What are the solutions that National Federation of Independent Businesses has been looking at? And what would you consider the problem? Before we get to solutions, what do you think the problem is, if you'll define that for us?
Well, the problem is anytime we get into a massive national one-size-fits-all, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the problems with Obamacare, is that it mandates benefits because they've decided they're important that may or may not be of significance to the individual group. We've all read and heard about the number of businesses that are, for one reason or another, all male, all over 55, that have to have maternity benefits.
Right. They have to pay the premiums that provides maternity benefits. Yeah.
So it's a cost for that group to subsidize somebody else. And I think Bonnie was making a comment earlier about one of my favorite terms, OPM, other people's money. As long as you can figure a way to spend other people's money on your benefits, it's always easier. One of the things that just in healthcare general you need to think about, Senator Dyson, for example, was very, very active in trying to develop more consumer-driven plans where the individual had more involvement in the program. Just as kind of a general thought, if you've got a health care card, and let's say instead of buying health care with it, it's a grocery care card, and somebody else is paying the premium, whether it's through an ERISA plan, an employer-based plan, a government plan, or as we have now, a government-subsidized plan. Because a lot of those folks who are going to be facing the large increase aren't going to pay it. It's going to be subsidized by the government. Who's the government? Other people's money. So let's say you have a card similar for going in and buying groceries, and you go back to the meat market, and you're looking at hamburger and prime rib. Somebody else is paying for it. You know, I'd have an inclination to buy a lot more prime rib than hamburger.
You only had to pay 20 cents on the dollar for prime rib or 20 cents on the dollar for a hamburger? Well, it's not that big of a difference to me.
And that's part of the problem. We have really taken the individual as much as we can out of any consequences of their healthcare decision.
Well, Denny, I think it's even harder than this, because what if you walked into Costco or wherever you're buying your steak or your hamburger, and a lawyer was saying getting hamburger is really problematic. You really do. You have to buy steak. You have to buy the steak, and if you don't buy the steak, that could be a problem. We could sue you if you only bought the hamburger.
Well, you know, liability is a big problem. There's no question about that, and it's not just in the medical area. Again, you know, we've developed a culture, unfortunately, that anticipates someone else paying for whatever risk I take, and you know, we've lost that notion of individual accountability and individual responsibility. I think that's one of the reasons why health savings accounts, for example, where there's some advantage to me making decisions in terms of my own economics. If I don't spend some of that money, I get to keep it. We've simply taken that out of healthcare.
We're talking to Denny DeWitt, Alaska State Director for the National Federation of Independent Businesses.
Hi, Denny.
Howdy.
I was just thinking, I have a friend who has a small business, and she doesn't have to offer, you know, health insurance to her employees, but she does because it keeps the turnaround down. You know, they want to keep their job. Do people not realize that the more small businesses we have that provide this, the less we have to rely on government? I mean, do you run into a lot of people who have a problem with that? They want government to take more involvement and be more involved in these matters?
Well, I think they're, you know, that you're right on the precipice of two very different opinions. There is an opinion that growing government and looking towards government to take care of us is a good thing, and there are those of us who believe that the more government involvement you have, the more unnecessary government regulation you have, the more difficult it is to provide jobs, to hire people, to have good employees and support those good employees, because the government is making decisions on how you're going to spend your money. The one thing that's interesting to remember in this whole discussion is government is really good at telling small businesses how to spend their money, but they don't do much in terms of mandating revenue in the front door. We have a lot of people who are willing to help small businesses spend their money, but it's up to the small business person to figure out how to earn that money that someone else is trying to spend.
We're talking to Denny DeWitt, Alaska State Director for the National Federation of Independent Businesses. Denny, just about every time I meet a business owner, I will ask them, how's Obamacare affecting them? 100% of the time, I get a deep sigh, eyes roll, and then I hear a horror story. What are some of the things you're hearing from your members specifically regarding Obamacare and how it's preventing them from growing their business?
Well, Bonnie just hit the nail on the head, and that is that small businesses try as best they can to provide their employees with good wages and good benefits. But when the cost of benefits continues to escalate, you have to do one of two things. you either have to cut back on what your payroll is, including benefits, or you have to reduce the number of people you're paying. And that's not good for the business, and it's not good for folks
So are you hearing,
losing their jobs.
Are you hearing from your members that they would have expanded or would have hired, but instead, because of the uncertainty of Obamacare or because of the reality of Obamacare, they're not going to?
Absolutely. I heard from a number of members that right now the mandated level is 50 employees or more. And I have a good friend I used to work with, this in California, who just shut his business down. He told me that Obamacare and the cost of providing insurance, one, he was offering insurance, the prices were just, even though he was not in the benefits level, he was at 50 employees or more, and he had worked arduously to keep his employee number down below 45, so there'd be no question. So the fact that he could have expanded, there were just a number of
that 50
things
that 50 employee, that thing hasn't gone into effect yet, has it?
Yeah.
I thought that we delayed that past the election.
Excuse me, you're right, it is delayed.
Yeah, okay. So when that does kick in, clearly businesses that are on the brink there, they're not going to go above 50.
Oh, absolutely won't.
Yeah.
The cost is too much. But even if you don't go above 50, this recent announcement of the premium increases hits you directly. So
37% increase.
Yeah. Even if you're not over 50, because that's what you're paying in the in the insured market. Now, I'm told by our insurance director and other folks who've been involved in it that, now remember, that's not the small business market. And that's true, and that's nice, but we still have a tremendous number of my members who buy in the individual market, and the only way they can provide a benefit is to assist their employees with the cost of health insurance. They'll give them, X number of dollars to go out and find something, or here's, someone that we're working with, and I'll pay part of your premium and you pay the rest. So it hits our folks pretty hard.
Are we going to see that more and more, Denny? Are we going to see more and more employers essentially give up on trying to fund their own employees' health care, give them a few bucks, and then they have to go out and pay the penalty? And then basically that's the direction we're going?
Yep, that's where we're going.
And that gets us to single payer, where instead of paying $17,000 a year for your employees' health, you give them $3,000, you pay a 2 or 2.5% penalty on their wage, and they go out and have to buy it themselves. Government-sponsored health care.
That's exactly right. It's unfortunate, but there are many reports I've seen and forecasts that the employer market is.
Denny DeWitt, I got to cut you off. We're to break here. Thank you so much, though. Time is 7:58.
Nice talking to you. Thanks a lot.
Just 10 miles north of the entrance to Denali Park.
At Amana, the Million Air Heat Exchanger found in
locals. They'll tell you it can. It has for decades. Healy has been home to Usabelli Coal Mine since 1943, but you can hardly tell there's a coal mine nearby. That's because every summer, Usabelli employees roll up their sleeves and plant thousands of trees on lands that were once mined for coal. Within a few years, the land is restored to a natural state. Ideal habitat for Alaskans of every species. Usabelli Coal Mine, restoring Alaska to the way we found it.
Not just talk. Hot talk. KOAN Anchorage. 95.1 FM. 1080 AM.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady.
We want every veteran in this country to think of VA as their VA.
The nation's new Veterans Affairs chief just outlining his new plan to reorganize after the VA Medical Center scandal. Fox News Radio's Steve Taylor live in Washington.
Secretary of Veterans Affairs Robert McDonald begins with a personal apology to veterans whose health care was delayed.
We are as impatient as you are.
McDonald says VA appointments processes are getting new software, websites are being simplified, and those who serve veterans badly are being disciplined.
We've had over 24 medical professionals who are no longer working for the VA.
The secretary says the department is moving as fast as it can to make other improvements. Lisa.
Steve, thanks. President Obama has a plan to deal with ISIS. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live at the White House.
Weeks of airstrikes targeting dozens of ISIS targets in Iraq will be followed by what President Obama calls Phase 2 in dealing with the terror threat. Congressional leaders are expected to be briefed here tomorrow, and the president will make a speech to the nation Wednesday. But officials caution the president is not expected to announce expanded airstrikes or military action is imminent. Instead, it's described as fleshing out long-term strategy that includes working with international and regional coalition partners. Lisa.
Jared, thanks. No word yet on what caused a deadly fire on Chicago's South Side early today, killing 4 children, leaving their mother and her boyfriend in critical condition. The investigation continues. With word that Prince William and wife Kate are expecting their second baby, comes another round of severe morning sickness for Kate.
It's been a tricky few days, week or so. But obviously, we're immensely thrilled.
The prince adding he hopes things settle down and Kate feels a bit better. Their son, Prince George, is nearly 14 months old now. Kate was hospitalized for a time early on in that pregnancy. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Gear up for fall and haul in the savings. Choose 0% 60-month financing or big cash off select John Deere tractors. From the 1 family to 150 horsepower utility tractors. Plus, get $1,500 off new 1 family tractors when you buy 2 implements. Offer ends October 31st, 2014, subject to approved credit on John Deere financial installment plan. Some restrictions apply. See your participating dealer for details.
Visit your local John Deere dealer today to take advantage of special savings going on now. Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
You've been thinking about moving over to solar power for your home. So are a lot of other people, which is why some power companies are pushing for extra fees to make up the difference. Get caught in the middle or go with a trusted local solar company and actually own it with no down payment, interest, or payments for a whole year. Get all the tax incentives you're entitled to while you still can. We finance. Call for your free in-home assessment. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR today.
My home, my savings, 1-800-MY. When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza, 333-8000.
This is Dr. Ellenberg. Are you tired of taking medications? Do your medications create more side effects than solutions? Do you want more than 15 minutes with your doctor? If you answer yes to those questions, you should consider calling the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine. At our center, we take the time to listen and focus on finding the cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
When Malarkey Mark Begich ran for U.S. Senator, he made a lot of claims about his record as Anchorage mayor. Begich knew the truth wouldn't come to light before the election. But now, history is caught up with Malarkey Mark. Under Begich, Anchorage taxes went up 27%. Under Begich, the city budget ballooned, a $142 million increase in spending. Under Begich, the city was saddled with unprecedented 5-year Under Begich, a deficit of over $20 million was left for the next mayor to deal with. Begich left Anchorage in serious trouble. Alaska's Energy, America's Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com.
When I grew up, I wanted to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher. Oh, an Olympic gymnast.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business too, so that you can continue to grow your dreams. For more information, visit financial.com. 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
$8:06 Monday morning. Welcome to a brand new work week. Glad you're here. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie on this, the 8th day of September. Mike Daniels and his team at Country Financial are spread across the state at Country Financial locations, 13 of them in Alaska, 5 in Anchorage, 5 in the Valley. If you go see a country representative, here's what you'll find, that there are things that you didn't realize you needed to know to get to a successful, worry-free retirement. How could you know? You're busy with your life. You have a lot going on. And when you get to the place where you're no longer earning money, you want to have peace of mind, right? Well, Country Financial, their team there, they can get you from point A to point B. They'll ask you the right questions. They'll help you with your financial planning. They'll make sure that you're not underinsured, which is always a big deal. Mike Daniels leads a big team up here, and they've helped so many Alaskans get to where they need to go. Go see a country representative. Here's the number, 866-COUNTRY, 866-COUNTRY. That's the phone number. And if you don't know how to spell country, our good friend Bonnie Cameron is here to tell you how to do so.
Calls, what is it? I'm going to try to do the whole thing. Okay. COUNTRY.
All right. Woo.
What's the beginning? You never let me do the beginning.
866-COUNTRY. Country is spelled
COUNTRY. I'm not allowed to do the rest of it.
No, you're only allowed to spell country.
We have to separate responsibilities around here. We can't
Rewind.
have people do all kinds of different weird stuff.
569-1080 is the number. 569-1080 if you'd like to join this particular broadcast. You were writing a novel during my Countrywide commercial. What, you got something to say there?
I do. Well, earlier in the show, we're talking about love languages, which to me, that's a female term. And I don't think the love languages, frankly, cover what inspires men.
Well, let's first of all, the love language.
Isn't one of them sex?
Touch is one of them.
Oh, okay.
Love languages.
They put it nicer.
The people who try to figure these kind of things out have broken it down, and most people have one of 5 love languages, and you can have a variation of any of them. They are touch, they are quality time, they are acts of service, taking the garbage out, washing the car, that kind of stuff. They are words of affirmation. You're so wonderful, you're so beautiful.
Gifts.
Dan, you have an amazing head of hair, that kind of stuff. Gifts is another one. That's the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, see, I don't, by the way, I don't think any of these things are the key to men.
Okay.
These are about relationships. And a man, it's just mostly in a relationship with himself, and there happen to be other people around. And I realize that's kind of a cruel thing, but I'll explain. But I think the key to figuring out what keeps a man happy is what inspires him. And you talked about competition. That's what inspires you. That's what makes you tick. That's what makes Dan Fagan who he is. Every day, get up, I'm going to go beat somebody. I'm going to go figure out how to get one up on the world. I'm going to compete with this world, and I'm going to win.
Well, let me qualify.
Okay.
Because, that's what has driven me most of my life. But now I find myself at the ripe old age of 54. My competitive juices operate in the arena of what I believe is right and wrong now. There are people out there who believe very differently than what I believe. And I believe that I'm right. I may not be on a lot of it. I may not be on any of it, but that's what I believe. And so when I get up, I want to go and I want to beat the ideology that I think is destructive. It causes great harm to our culture. So that's the area which I compete now.
Okay. Well, that's fine. But I was thinking, again, we're talking here, the love languages thing, I think was written primarily for women and secondarily for relationships. How do you make your relationship succeed? I think figuring out the key to whoever your man is, that will help your relationship succeed as well. And so what I was writing down was some different things which I think inspire men. 1, competition. 2, service. 3, work. I think a lot of men they just want to go to work. They want to make something. They want something to do. They want something to create. Some men are inspired by money, power, influence, and the more they have of that, the more manly they will feel. Some, I think, are destructive, and this was the one that I was kind of highlighting as the ones to stay away from. Some men just like to steal other people's stuff. They like to steal their women. They like to, they cheat, and that sort of inspires them. I had a friend of mine who I lived with, out of business with for a longest period of time. He wouldn't steal from me, but what he would do is, if he could do an assignment, right, in school, say, for instance, if he could write a paper, and it would take him a quarter of the time to write the paper himself, or he could go out and figure out how to use somebody else's work, he would expend 4 times as much energy and effort trying to figure out how to get out of doing whatever it was that he was supposed to do, rather than just do it himself, get the benefit of having written his own paper and all that kind of stuff. I think that is a huge inspirational factor for some men as well. Anyway, that's what I was writing down. I had some other thoughts about Obamacare too, but I didn't think they were as fun.
I didn't. That's interesting, because I don't think I've ever met. I've known men who were always looking for the easy way out, but that's not what you're describing.
This is people who are just trying to figure out how to get one over on the system. And so I guess it's kind of a competitive, but like a really negative competitive thing. It's like it's stealing. But there are men who essentially, they have a wife, they have their own family, they have their own job, they have all this that they've been given, all this responsibility that they've given, all these things that they can cultivate and make great, but they want to go out and find another woman.
So they're never satisfied.
No.
Oh, no, I've met many men like that.
I don't think it's not satisfied. They want to steal what somebody else has. They want a conquest. Right, they want to break somebody else's stuff.
Yeah.
And so they can just feel like, I got one over on you, buddy. Your woman is mine.
Yeah.
And she's not all yours.
No, I've met many men like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a sick way
to
live life.
It's twisted. It really is.
So you think the love languages was given to women?
But can we finish on his topic? So what drives somebody to do that? That I've got to have what I can't have.
I do think it's a sickness.
It's a character flaw.
I highlight it as something where people should just stay away. You need to determine whether or not, because I think all men are made up of these 5 things. This competitiveness, the idea that service is really important, is a big part of you, work, business, industry, money, power, and influence, and then the idea of stealing. That there is a mixture of these probably in every man. And you need to make sure that the stealing part of it, the taking what somebody else has, is not such a big part of them that it can't be managed. Because
that was a fast segment. Did we have a long commercial break at the top of the hour? We did? Okay.
All right.
Because that was really interesting. I want to continue on that.
Well, we got to go back to the love languages, too, because Bonnie's got a great question.
8:14, Dan Fagan, Glenn Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. We're on KOAN and KVNT.
KOAN.
KVNT.
There you go.
AN.
KVNT.
There you go.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
All across the U.S., people are hearing this. And once people hear it, they break into a dance and head to Staples. Here's a mom and daughter. Why are you guys dancing?
I just got glue for 39 cents. So cool. Erasers for 25 cents. Way. And mechanical pencils for $1. I got a muff of that ish. My friends will be so jelly. Hashtag really cool.
Let me translate. She got glue for 39 cents, erasers for 25 cents, and mechanical pencils for $1. She must tell her friends on social media.
OMG. Staples. This back to school, make more happen for less. Offers valid while supplies last. Limits apply. See store staples.com for details.
I'm Leslie Moore. I teach 7th grade here in Anchorage. I'm tired of the DC outsiders coming to Alaska to falsely attack Dan Sullivan. Don't believe their dishonest ads. The truth is, Dan Sullivan has stood up for Alaskans and delivered results. I've seen it firsthand. After the financial crisis, my pension took a big hit. It was a difficult time for all Alaska teachers. But Attorney General Dan Sullivan fought back, forcing a Wall Street firm to pay for their malpractice, putting almost $500 million back into the retirement fund for Alaskans.
Dan Sullivan stood up to Wall Street and Washington as our Attorney General and DNR Commissioner, fighting for Alaska.
Dan Sullivan stood up for me and every Alaskan teacher. He's a man of the highest integrity, and he will fight for Alaskans, not for the big money special interests. This is a critical time for our nation and state. We need more people like Dan Sullivan fighting for us in the U.S. Senate.
I'm Dan Sullivan, and I approve this message. Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
Tax rules, technology, regulations, oh my! Are you one of the thousands of small business owners in Alaska? Need some advice on success? Listen to Getting Down to Business with Dave Weatherholt, your personal small business guru, on Hot Talk KOAN 95.5 FM and 1080 AM, every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Your small business resource with advice you can use.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. KOAN. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
All right, 8:17. Dan Fagan, Glenn Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. We're trying to figure out life. Trying to figure out what makes people tick. And your point again in the last segment was basically,
if that a key to figuring out what your relationship with your man, if you're a woman, is he's got something that inspires him, and whatever inspires a man is very key to knowing who he is and how he works, and how to get him to do more, and how to get him to be happy. And I always thought the love language thing was, first of all, it just sounds stupid to say, frankly. But secondly, I really think that it's more for women, and that it is more for relationships. That there is a ghost in here, and he's manipulating your microphone.
So love language is more for women to be able to explain to their men how they're feeling. Is that what you're trying to say?
Right. It's written for women.
Right.
I'm writing this for women too, so they can understand what makes their man tick.
Because I can't see my husband saying, I really need words of affirmation.
Well, no, that's
more of a woman thing. So I do agree with you on that.
Yeah.
All
right.
But that's not how it works.
How does it work?
It does.
What is it?
Men who need words of affirmation would never say, "I need you to praise me."
That's what my point is. That's what he's saying. It was written for women, so women can explain to their men what they need.
Mm-hmm. But
so it's more a
I think the key to a man is understanding what drives him, what inspires him, and that if you can find these things and then give him an opportunity for these things to occur. So I list 4 positive things and 1 very negative thing, and all men are made up probably of all 5 of these things in different relationships. Competition, service, the need to do service for other people, work, business, industry is a third one. Money, power, and influence might inspire men, and there are a lot of people, and that may be dangerous as well, that if money, power, and influence is what you're looking for, that could be a danger sign. But also stealing, theft. Some people are just inspired by getting one over on the other guy, not in a competitive sense, but in where they have stolen something that's precious like the relationship between a man and a wife, that they stole that from a friend of theirs and they're fooling around with their wife, for instance.
What was you had a thought on love languages? Bonnie?
Well, that was my thing. I can see how love languages is more of a woman thing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, my husband he's just so, what you see is what you get. So it doesn't take much explaining for him. He's pretty easy.
Pretty easy to figure out.
Most men are, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
I
not
think so.
complicated.
No. I do think though that if your love language is anything other than quality time, I do think there's probably something wrong with you.
That's not fair.
If all you want are gifts, you are not able to have a relationship with a person because you're having a relationship with the gifts.
No,
not a relationship with the person.
The gift.
Am I wrong?
Well, the good gift women, having known one very well, it's not about the gift itself. It's not that they want a diamond ring or diamond earrings. It's that they want you to give them a gift that shows you know their heart. A card.
You have to prove something.
You have to prove something that you've been paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what they like in life. You understand what makes them happy.
You've listened.
And if your gift reflects that you are in touch with what they are, what's on their heart, then you get a lot of points. And so it's not that the gift people are necessarily always materialistic.
Don't the gifts run out though? Because this is the problem is if you don't give another gift 3 days later, then you still haven't listened to them.
Glenn.
So there's
you don't get to marry a woman and tell her on the honeymoon you love her and never tell her again. They always need more. Well, no, it's true. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that that's bad.
Putting it that way was so hard.
Well, you've got to constantly tell your wife or girlfriend or whatever it is that you have to constantly let them know, either by acts or actions or words or all of the above, that they're your priority, that they're important, that they mean a lot to you. And it's that so many men, you ask a guy in his 60s today, you and your wife, you got a good marriage? Yeah, my wife knows I love her. I told her 20 years ago. Literally, men don't get that.
Wouldn't that be words of affirmation, though?
Listen, men are built to pursue women. Women are built to be pursued. It never ends. The pursuit never stops. If you're both in a nursing home in your early 80s, you got to get up and go to her, and it never ends. The pursuit never ends. The relationship, the second the pursuit ends, then it's over. And that's what these love languages do. They basically give you some kind of framework. How do I pursue my wife? What does she like? Does she like to be touched? Does she like to have quality time? Does she like gifts? Does she like me to paint the garage? Everyone has a different kind of way of feeling loved. And this just gives you some kind of push. And, well, I know my wife really likes it when I get her a car, because that's a gift. Something she mentioned 2 weeks ago, and I remembered it, and I got her a card, and, like she said, I really like the pistachio ice cream at Vino's restaurant. And then, 2 weeks later you get a card, hey, let's run over to Vino's and get some of that pistachio ice cream. That's a gift person.
Mm-hmm.
And so that it just gives you more of a focus on how to pursue.
An insight.
Now let me ask you a question. That woman that you dated who
Oh,
loves
we're not going to go.
gifts,
We're not going to.
Oh
be
yeah,
no,
we're
let
all
me
there.
ask you a question.
We live there.
Did she like to give you gifts?
No.
Okay, because I know people who love to give gifts, but they want you to know that they gave you a gift and appreciate it.
From what I understand about the love language people, is that they show love in the way that they like to receive love.
Mm.
But if this person didn't give gifts, but she wanted
this person
gifts,
is not someone we're going to.
She's not healthy
on this particular broadcast.
Okay, I just want to say this is my view, and this may be controversial, and if you disagree, I'd love to have you disagree with us. We're on KOA and KBNT. Am I wrong on that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, and 569-1080. That's the number. But if you do not spend quality time, then none of the other love languages
Glenn,
will work. That you will lose your relationship if you don't spend quality time. That's my view, and that is the indispensable love language.
See,
period.
I can't dispute that because I'm a quality time person. There's nothing I hate more than to have a woman that I really care about and love and to go see a movie with her. Because that's 2 hours when we're looking at a screen.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be with her. I want to talk to her. I want to hear from her. And so I'm like that. I'm a big quality time guy. I hate TV. I hate movies. I hate anything that distracts me from interacting with the woman that I care about. What are you guys smiling about?
There you go, women. Call in 569-1080.
Well, here's the problem I have is
He's gonna call. It
while
worked.
you're in the movie, though, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Bonnie, that can be quality time. There's a little touch. You hold
for me.
hands.
I hate movies for
Yeah,
that
me
reason.
too.
I gotta agree with Dan
I don't
on
think
that.
you're a quality time person.
Well, no, I am, because that's what I know, that a relationship revolves around it. That if you don't have that, I don't care. If gifts are the centerpiece of your relationship, you'll lose it. If words of affirmation are the centerpiece of your relationship and you're not showing that with quality time, you'll lose it. There's just no way around quality time. Quality time is all a relationship is. That is relationship.
But a lot of couples are so pushed to the brink when it comes to time. You know, they get both
Then
couples,
they'll lose it. That's my view.
But
My
there-
view
there
is
are
over
plenty.
time, you will lose your relationship
there are-
90% of the time.
There are plenty of married couples who both worked and spent all the years raising their kids, running them to soccer, running them to hockey, and yet their marriage is great in the end. I mean, it lasts through all that.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of marriages, though, are built on responsibility and not on love.
Yeah, but I think you guys are saying the same thing because, like Glenn says, it's essential because those people, when they do have time, they are making it quality.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert and I can be together. He's 3 weeks off, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
We can be together for that 3 weeks off, and some of it's not really quality. But those people who are, working all the time, they really make good use of their time.
Yeah. The quality is the key word.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad we could help you folks out there today. Having trouble in your marriage.
Well, I was just thinking why that the love language thing just didn't work for me.
We cover the range here.
It wasn't all that helpful. Now, on Obamacare, I really think that conservatives are having a difficult time wrapping their heads around this because, and Amanda Coyne said this so well, then what is your solution to the problem?
Look, can I dispel the nonsense that the left is? Look, healthcare is a disaster in this country because the government got involved in the first place.
Yeah.
The government intervened, created the problem, and then exasperated it by saying you need more government. And these leftists who sit here and say, well, you conservatives don't have any solutions, we do have solutions. Get the heck out of healthcare. Let the private sector take care of it. Let people pay for their own insurance. Let people pay for their own health care. Stop trying to supplement and create dependence and overregulate the insurance industry, and let it be like any other facet of our economy. I got so mad at the History Channel. I'm watching the History Channel the other day, and they what was his name?
That's not much to go on there.
Not before right before FDR. There was the guy League of Nations. Who was before FDR? League of Nations.
I don't know. I'm thinking McKinley, but
No. And then the guy right before him is Grover Cleveland.
Okay.
Greatest president we've ever had. Cut taxes dramatically. Brought us the Roaring '20s. Huge boom for the economy. The stock market crashed because it was overvalued. Immediately after the stock market crashed, we all went through a very difficult time in the Depression. But unemployment rate actually dropped to 6%. So this is not what the Discovery Channel reported. Then FDR came in and just raised taxes through the roof, government spending out of control, and he caused the Great Depression to last much longer than it should have because of his government intervention. That's what's happening with healthcare in this country. Yes, government caused a problem, and they're making it even worse by throwing more government in the mix. And that's, in a nutshell, what's happening. And it's just like the Great Depression. More government always means less prosperity. Always. 100% of the time. 829. Prosperity. Always. 100% of the time. 829.
Biegel.
Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. The body of a young woman buried at Anchorage Memorial Park for 30 years has been exhumed, and Kent explains why.
The woman, who may have been in her late teens, was buried without anyone knowing who she was, after her body was found on April 25, 1984, near Horseshoe Lake. She is believed to have been a victim of notorious Alaska serial killer Robert Hansen, who died last month in prison at the age of 75 of natural causes. Testing methods not available in 1984 are available now, and with facial reconstruction imaging, victim advocates are hoping to solve this 3-decade mystery.
The State of Obesity Report. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation finds obesity increased in Alaska and 5 other states since last year's report. 2 out of 3 American adults are now overweight to obese. Well, that should help to further lower our life expectancy rates. That's your Hot Talk News update.
Partial sunshine for today, high 61. Cloudy with a passing shower tonight, low 48. Cloudy with a bit of rain for tomorrow, high 57. Tuesday night, low 50. Cloudy Wednesday with a passing shower or 2, high 58. Thursday, high 61. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Chris here along with my buddy Brock. That's right, we're here to tell you to tune into the Beer Show every Saturday at 5 p.m. on 95.5 and 1080 KOAN. The Beer Show is brought to you by Brown Jug Alaska, Eagle River Ale House, Great Artisan Beverages, and the Odom Corporation. Please drink responsibly.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Has your mind ever gone blank in the middle of a meeting? Well, you're not alone. Crumbling under pressure is often caused by stress. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. A stressful situation can trigger your brain to momentarily block its ability to organize thoughts. That leaves your mind blank and you flustered. If that happens to you, the first thing you need to do is try and bring back your focus. Something as simple as rolling your shoulders back when you're distracted can reset your thinking. You have a big speech to give or upcoming job interview. Try practicing ahead of time with a friend or family member. This takes stress out of the situation and can prevent you from choking during the real thing. Another tip, when you're in a meeting or class, don't over-rehearse your answers. The longer you wait to speak up, the more pressure you can feel. So jump in with an idea right away. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Years ago, the family doctor was someone who came to your home. And while that practice has faded into memory, there is someone who keeps the tradition of personal health care alive. Your local Health Mart pharmacist knows you by name, not by refill number. Stop by your independently owned Health Mart pharmacy and see how the tradition of personal health care lives on. Visit healthmart.com for the location near you. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. With one phone call, you'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information. It's a free service, so call now.
800-379-1174. 800-379-1174.
Did you know that one of the state's premier medical facilities is located right in the heart of South Anchorage? Thanks to the Alaska Neurology Center, there's no need to leave Alaska anymore when it comes to treating the nervous system. You'll receive the best care at the Alaska Neurology Center for epilepsy, cerebral palsy, brain injuries, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, multiple sclerosis, speech disorders, and they offer pain management as well. And if you're having trouble sleeping at night, the Alaska Neurology Center has the best sleep disorder experts in the state. They also have the most sophisticated MRI imaging technology in Alaska. If you need relief from stress or from migraines, relax in their luxurious spa. At the Alaska Neurology Center, their massage therapists are amazing, and they offer hydrotherapy, infrared sauna, hot and cold therapy, and shiatsu massage. And their medical spa also offers facials and waxing. The Alaska Neurology Center, located on Diamond and Old Stewart.
Glenn Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan.
That's 244-0821.
Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m.
$8:35 in the morning. Winter's upon us. You want to get reliable transportation. Ali Sheik over at Payless Car Sales. And the reason they call it Payless is because you pay less, but you should get more. Ali Sheik has an incredible selection of really nice cars, trucks, and SUVs. And they're really committed to customer service in the way, the old school folks, where their word is their bond. His non-commissioned sales staff, they're going to treat you with respect. They're going to answer your questions. You're not going to worry about it being pressured. Hey, you got a nice face. I'll tell you what, I can make you a good deal on this car. You're not going to hear any of that nonsense. Ali Sheik builds his business one customer at a time. He's now the second largest car dealer in Anchorage, fastest growing in Alaska. Go tell Ali Sheik that Glenn Biegel and I sent you at Payless Car Sales, and he'll put you in a vehicle you will absolutely love. It'll be very affordable for you. Payless Car Sales, 919 East 5th Avenue. 919 East 5th Avenue.
So I got savaged by somebody who Bonnie knows, and actually I know well too. And
savage.
I think. Well, here's the thing. I'm not saying that relationships aren't built on the 5 different love languages. I didn't say that at all. I think what I did say was largely the love language book was for women, and largely it has to do with relationships, not with what inspires a man.
Well, just for those who are just joining us, there are 5 different love languages, and this is a theory that everybody kind of falls into one of the 5 categories predominantly. The love languages are touch, quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, and then what's the other one? Gifts, love, touch, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, taking the garbage out. And Glenn, you're basically saying this is more for women than men.
Yeah, and somebody texted me and said that they understand how to express love to their partner more now than they did before. And
because they know his love language.
Yeah, my guess is...
What is your love language?
I would say quality time. Yeah.
See, that's funny, Glenn, because you're sitting here telling us that that's the only legitimate one.
Yeah.
And yet, that's your love language. You're proving the theory
exactly
that these are actually a validity.
I think that without quality time, it's very difficult. You basically don't have relationships.
That's your love language.
You don't have relationships.
That's the point.
Not just for women.
If it's gifts, well, the reason is if it's gifts, then you have a relationship with the gifts, not with the person.
I don't think you heard me when I explained the gift love language. People who have a love language of gift, it's not that they want stuff. They want you to give them a gift that expresses you knowing them well. A card, their favorite chocolate, something that could cost 30 cents, but it shows that you're paying attention.
It's an emotional
So
thing.
how can you say it's about gifts when you're making it like it's material?
Okay. Well, and in that sense, I think everybody has to have words of affirmation. Everybody has to have gifts. Everybody has to have quality time. Everybody has to have gifts or a service. That these are part of every healthy relationship, and any relationship which does not have all 5 of them then is going to be really problematic.
But
if you never have a kind word to say to the person who you're having a relationship with, then frankly all the gifts and everything else that you've done, I guess in that sense all of them are going to be required. And I'm not saying that it's not important to know what your...
But isn't it possible that of those 5 different ways to show your partner you love them, that some people may be more affected by some of them than others. That's all we're saying.
Yeah,
we're not saying you cannot do any of the 5.
Okay.
Yeah, usually when we do like marriage retreats or something like that, they'll have you put those in order. They're all important.
Okay.
It's just
they
the
all
order
are a
of
necessary
importance.
part of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, I can see that. I still believe, though, that if you don't have quality time, that's not the centerpiece of your relationship.
But that's your love
that's going to be a problem. No, I
you
would
understand
say,
that someone who has touch as their love language, they would sit here with as much fervency and argue, if you're not having good physical contact with your mate, your relationship is not going to make it. Just like you're saying, if you don't have a good quality time, because that's your love language.
So, it just seems odd because touch and quality time to me are.
Well,
but that's
and
your
like,
love language.
Like what this person was saying to me, and I understand now, is that while quality time might be important to you, you need to know your wife's love language to be able to.
What is your wife's love language?
Quality time.
Okay, well
So
that's
good.
You're fortunate in that you have.
Sure. Well, I know. I mean, you really need to adopt you need to adopt what your mate, what her love language is.
Right.
Yeah, it's about the other person, not so much you, not so much saying, I need words of affirmation. Why can't you understand that?
What's yours, Bonnie?
I would say quality time, probably.
And what's your husband's?
Or well, my mom is acts of service. I don't think I'm as much with that.
So what's your
My husband's?
Yeah.
Touch.
Touch.
Definitely. He would call it something else, but that's to put it nicely.
We like nice. Nice is good. Anyway,
Hey,
but
I
look, we're talking about two different things, because what I was saying is that's written for relationships, that's written for females more than males.
Mm-hmm.
What I believe, though, is true is that, as we were talking earlier, you said competition drove you. Competition inspired you. Competition was what you were all about. That's who you were. That's why you woke up in the morning. That's why you got out of bed every day. Compete, compete, compete. And I think that there is a male equivalent and a more important thing to understand how men work, and that they are working off of different things. And to understand a man, because I'm trying to, I internalize things as a man would, not as in a relationship. Understanding love languages are important for relationships. I'm not saying they're not. So we're really talking about two things. I'm not saying ignore the love language. I'm just saying that's written for a relationship and for women. What I am trying to say is it's important to know, because I would really like to know from this person, who we both know very well, what is his inspiration, and does she understand her man well enough to know what his inspiration is? And
She can't right now.
I believe that she does know what inspires her man. I believe that whether it's competition or service or work business industry or money, power, influence, or stealing, and I'm sure it's not stealing, but getting one over on somebody else. But I bet she knows that.
I think there's a ceiling and a basement to every thing. To be competitive can be a really good thing, it can be a really bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
To be ambitious can be a really good thing, or it can be a really bad thing. It depends on what you're ambitious for. It depends on what you're competing for. If you're competing to shame people in your life or to embarrass them.
Has this been a part of what you used to compete for, by the way?
I think that I have changed a lot in the last 3 years. And when I look back at my show on KFQD, I think that I was competing to humiliate. I wanted to humiliate those who disagree with me. I think that was part of it. I honestly believe, no, I'm not going to beat myself up that much. I knew that, or I thought, and I may be wrong, but I most of my adult life, I have believed in the idea of freedom versus control.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always felt like as you promote freedom, people are liberated and their lives are better. And so in the arena of ideas, and that's why I hated Sarah Palin's policies, the big tax, and she was just all anti-freedom with her taxes. And so I do think that I had the right heart in that I was wanting to argue for freedom, but because I was so injured on the inside, it became personal, and I began to actually hate those who disagree with me. I don't do that anymore. I don't hate Les Guerra. I don't hate Bill Wilikowski or these guys. I strongly disagree with them, and I want my side to win because it's going to produce good, but I don't hate him anymore. And I think that's the difference between now and then. 8:44 is the time. It's good, but I don't hate him anymore. And I think that's the difference between now and then. 8:44 is the time.
Fagan and Beegel. You're on with Fagan and Beegel on the Talk of the Valley.
It's the 2014 Pirate Pub Crawl in downtown Anchorage, Captain, on Saturday, September 20th.
Shiver me timbers, we'll need to batten down the hatches and set our course to help raise money for the Blood Bank of Alaska's treasure chest, else we'll be sent to Davy Jones' locker.
Aye, navigate your way to Town Square at 7 p.m. for a group photo with your crew. Make way anytime after 7 p.m. to the participating pubs in downtown Anchorage with your treasure map to win 80,000 air miles and more.
Jibe ho to AnchorageDowntown.org for more details and discounts on hotel stay, costumes, and parking at Easy Park lots for the night.
Yo ho, me hearties.
We best be seeing your scallywags at the Pirate Pub Crawl on September 20th.
Brought to you by the Anchorage Downtown Pirate Ship, K&H Graphics, the Blood Bank of Alaska, the Odom Corporation, Dooley's Tuxedos and Rentals, and Alaska Integrated Media.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesak.com.
Find movie showtimes for Anchorage and the Valley at moviesak.com. Check out trailers and reviews updated daily. Moviesak.com, your local location on the web to find out everything you need to know before you go out. Register for free movie tickets that are given away every week and the grand prize of movie tickets for life.
You know, there are many people in Anchorage who have their own special place for gifts for occasions like Mother's Day or birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. Into Bell's Nursery and Gifts they go. And there's always something perfect. Bell's Gift Shop on Specking Road has a truly incredible selection of unique, creative gift ideas. Crystal, glass, and china and flatware, a wonderful kitchen section, candles, lotions and potions, and, of course, delicious Seas candies, and lots more. Great for browsing or finding that special gift. The gift shop at Bell's Nursery on Specking Road.
You're on with Fagan and Beegel on Hot
4118 or visit us at akcopy.net.
Fagan, Beegel. Weekdays.
13 minutes ahead of 9 o'clock. Dan Fagan here. Glenn Biegel right over there. Bonnie Cameron right over here. We're broadcasting on KOAN.
KOAN.
And KVNT.
KVNT.
There you go. Glad you're here. 569-1080 is our number. Kind of a different show today. Talking about all kinds of unusual stuff.
Mm-hmm. What do you make of the... should we go back to Obamacare, or do we want to continue on with all the rest of this touchy-feely
I don't care about Obamacare.
garbage?
I do want to have a town hall meeting, though. We're gonna have a town hall meeting. We're gonna load it up with business people, small business owners, people like Andy Kreiner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people who just try to make their way in the small business world. And I think people will be surprised at how devastating Obamacare has already been to Alaska, even though the bulk of the devastation that it will eventually wrought has been delayed past the election.
Well, eventually what it'll do is it will transfer all responsibility for health care to the government. That is essentially,
that's
and
the
their
goal.
agents, the insurance company.
Because the government is so able to do that.
Sure, of course. Yeah, I mean, and the idea here, by the way, it's so hard for people to wrap their heads around this. And you look at France, you look at the UK, you look at Canada. These are places that have universal health care. The government is responsible for their health care system. And you'd say to yourself, well, they don't look as broken, you know, as people here believe that they will be. And you do have to believe that we have a different kind of country, that it used to work very well. Once the government got involved in it, it raised prices dramatically. I don't know that it diminished outcomes, but it certainly made everything more expensive, so that now everything that you would do with our health care would be considered before what would be considered catastrophic. Every single thing that you'll go to the doctor for, you can go to the doctor for 2 hours and end up with $15,000 in charges. If you got a CAT scan, if you got an MRI, if they did blood work on you, just seeing the doctor is going to be $500. I mean, there's no way to get out of the healthcare system and not have something catastrophic. The reason for that is because government decided, well, we'll just pay.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. And then they got lawyers involved, one of the primary special interests for the left, and they said, well, there's a 0.05% chance that this will happen. Therefore, you have to do this test. And we want you to do the MRI rather than the CAT scan, rather than an X-ray, because it can check for this, that, the other thing. Well, that used to never be the case. So, but people have a difficult time wrapping their heads around what I think the most important question is, which is, what's wrong with our healthcare system? When people ask that question, what are they expecting to hear? Because you and I, Dan, we would come up and say, government got involved, they increased the prices dramatically, and now people don't have to pay for the health care that they receive. People on the left would say, well, some people still have to pay, and we haven't socialized the whole thing. But we're so far away from what you and I want, Dan. We're so far away from you pay for what you can. You don't have a lawyer who gets in the doctor's office with you. You pay for what you can, and people who can pay more will probably pay more, and some people who can't pay anything, they'll get charity care. And that's the way that the system will work, because then people will take care of themselves. People will not just go to the system because, they have a hangnail or something and end up with $15,000 in charges, which is totally unreasonable, and no society can afford to pay for that. The idea that our healthcare system, A, is broken, and B, that government can fix it. So this is what's so powerful about the arguments to the left. You say, well, what's wrong with it? People can't afford to go to the doctor. Well, you never get to the question of why. People used to not be able to afford to go to the doctor either, but they went anyway, and they paid what they could.
Well,
right? And so, but the power of the left is in one thing. I have an answer. No one will pay, and everyone will be served.
Mm-hmm.
That's their answer, except for the fact that we are now paying for people to be heavier than we can possibly afford, or that they can afford, and it's killing them off much quicker than they ever would. They don't change their lifestyle because they never have to pay for it.
The missing word here is we've lost the definition of the word insurance.
Yes.
Look, if the government began to mandate that auto insurance companies covered oil changes, filling your car for gas, getting new tires, every time your car overheated and you needed a new fuel pump or hot water pump or whatever, auto insurance would go through the roof.
And a new car too. Yeah. What if they mandated you get a new car every couple of years?
And that's what the government did with health insurance, knowing full well what they were doing. And so that's the whole purpose. Now, if I had to pay for my auto insurance, it'd be $10,000 a year. And so that's the government comes in and says we're gonna make sure that insurance companies do right. And now what they're doing is the solution to the mess they've created is we're gonna make even more sure that insurance companies do right. And here are the plans they can offer, and here are the plans they can't offer. Well, that's what caused the problem in the first place. And in a nutshell, that's what's wrong with Obamacare.
The price goes up, the quality goes down.
Every time when the government takes over for the private sector, the free market works. It works. It works.
Well, and like Glenn was saying, these other countries who do have socialized medicine, like Canada, when we lived on the border there was people streaming across from Canada to use our health care. I had a neighbor whose husband was a dual citizen. United States doesn't recognize that, but Canada does. And he had a dental problem. She went on and on about how wonderful the medical and dental was in Canada. But yet he couldn't get in for 4 months to Canada.
Where did he go? He came right over here to the good old
yeah.
U.S. of A.
Yep.
The problem with healthcare is we've raised the price of it so dramatically because government is so involved. I think government paid 52% of all healthcare costs. And the problem is the way that they structured Medicare and Medicaid is they're only going to pay a percentage of the cost, so they cost shift a whole bunch of costs to everybody else, people already on private insurance. So the system was literally broken before, and this is my answer to Amanda Coyne. We wrote bad legislation, which created a broken system. Now we're trying to fix it by breaking it more. I will tell people this, that there are really literally only two directions we can go. Either where the government is 100% responsible for paying all health care costs, or we move back to the point at which people try and act as responsibly as they possibly can. If you're more responsible than somebody else, then you will pay less for insurance and you will have less problems with your health care. and that maybe we look for a catastrophic situation, not where everything's catastrophic. We look for a situation where we pool our resources together and cover catastrophic situations. Well, I think those are literally the only two things. Either the government controls it all, or we cover catastrophic, and everybody has to figure out how to buy their own.
There's another dynamic in play, and that technology has so advanced what we can do healthcare-wise, but it's expensive. It's expensive to come up with these CAT scan machines and these drugs and all of these things that we've invented now to keep us living as long as we want. And so that's just part of the deal. It's expensive. It is indeed expensive to produce good quality health care. It's expensive to have a doctor come visit you because what the doctor does is of great value. And the nurses, I mean, it's not cheap.
Are people entitled to the latest, greatest drug that's made without having to pay for it themselves?
You mean to save their lives?
No, I don't know if it's to save their lives. Are people entitled to it? So a drug company comes up with something that's never been made before. They just made it 12 months ago, right? And it's better than the drugs that were there before, but it costs $30,000 a year.
That's to the government.
Are they entitled to it? But no, but this is one of the reasons why people say, well, we should let people have whatever drug they want, whatever the latest, greatest drug is, and they can have it with no cost. That's what we're covering. That's largely what Obamacare is for. And these are two different sides. One that says you're not entitled to stuff if you're not going to pay for it, and the other side says it doesn't matter what it is.
So if somebody's 55 years old and the doctor decides that their high blood pressure is dangerously high, and unless they get on this medication, they're going to get a stroke within a year, and they have no money, should they get that drug?
No. No.
They should not.
No. They should change their life. They should make improvements to their life.
Cancer. Let's say it's something that's no fault of their own. They got cancer.
Yeah. Now, for cancer, catastrophic situations like that, that's what I think catastrophic care is for. That's where conservatives are trying to push.
So if your sickness is related to your lifestyle, you should not get the help. If your sickness is not related to your lifestyle.
There are very good drugs out there for treating various conditions, but we just can't pay for $30,000 for every person who doesn't want to change their lifestyle. We can't afford it. But that's what Obamacare will do.
But that's a decision that should be between the patient, the doctor, and the pharmaceutical company.
No, not on the left's idea, and
Right.
not under Medicaid and not under Medicare. You get on these government programs, and they will buy stuff for you, and they will transfer the cost to somebody else.
And I would say that's not your call, and people would say, well, then you're heartless.
Well, it's going to push us into one of these two situations. One where we have universal coverage from the government, and the other where we have catastrophic coverage in case of cancer and things like that. But the rest of our healthcare costs are our responsibility.
And none of that should be legislated.
But the problem is that they've already won because Amanda Coyne asked the question, what would you do to fix the problem when the problem was caused by this massive government regulation we already had?
Have a great Monday afternoon, folks. We'll be back tomorrow. Fagan, Biegel, and Bunny. Monday afternoon, folks. We'll be back tomorrow. Fagan, Biegel, and Bunny.